Cool. We're in. Hey, my name is Uroš Sikimić, and I actually come from a gaming company, and games have been evolving tremendously, not only to become entertainment experiences, but simulators of real life. So you probably heard a lot that movies and games are becoming a one medium. In other words, games are becoming photorealistic or movies are becoming interactive. And within this whole new movement of video games, but also metaverse, or generally making sure that we can simulate our world, humans and identity, virtual digital identity, is quite important. So we're going to talk about it. I am leading the solutions team within Trilateral, an Epic Games company. We are focused on digital humans technologies, which we branded MetaHumans. Solutions team is somewhere in between research, the actual productions, and our products. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk how do we, as a company, as a tech company, perceive virtual identity, how are MetaHumans positioned and how do they represent or they capture the virtual identity of individuals, and where are those MetaHumans applied, or where does, from our perspective, virtual identity fit. So virtual identity. In short, identity is an abstract term that practically allows us to uniquely describe an individual. And from the perspective of a virtual identity we are working on, we are focused on the external identity. In other words, how a person looks, appearance, how that person gesticulates, and how does that person behave in terms of the behavioral patterns, how I have specific hand movement, specific facial movement, and so on, which we do want to embed in that identity format. So how do we come to virtual identity from the metahuman perspective? We figure out that each individual is data, a lot of data. So we are capturing roughly 5 terabytes of data per minute, 18 terabytes of data per minute for body, 5 terabytes per minute for the face, roughly 1 petabyte of data per individual per hour in order to describe only one person. So we are data generation machine. Humans are data generation machine. So, and then if we capture all the data, my facial anatomy, how it moves, also what's happening with my skin tones, with my blood flow, if I engage upper forehead throughout the gesticulation, I need also to assign semantics to the data or to label it. I need to explain to machines which are still rather stupid, what does that mean? Otherwise, those are just a bunch of pixels without any meaning. And when I capture those petabytes and petabytes for, or terabytes and terabytes per individual, I cannot put it on any device in that format because that's too much. I need to find a way to compress the data. So when it comes to human face only, we start from terabytes of data, but in the end, and we're going to talk about file format, we represent each human with a single file, and that file is only kilobytes. So a huge compression in algorithm along the way. Data. So this, can play? So this is a short video which kind of illustrates the pipeline, how we capture and process the data, if the video is working. Not working? One back, 2 slides back. There. It's not working. Okay, anyway. So we capture a bunch of images, then we are reconstructing vertices in space, millions of points only focused on human face. Then we, on an abstract level, annotate around 100,000 points on a human face across the expressions, across the humans. We also extract what we call PBR data, or physical-based rendering data. In other words, we are abstracting each point on a human face based on its physical properties. So not yellow, green, blue color, but how much light does it absorbs, reflects, translucency, and so on. All what's relevant for us in order to bring that individual, representation of that individual in a rendering environment. Renderer is practically a simulator of interaction of light with objects in order to get a convincing look for that individual. But we are also abstracting muscle contraction. So we're not looking as people as smiling or looking sad or sleeping, but we are representing a human face in the same way medical anatomy describes it. So if I engage specific muscle group, and depending how much I engage specific muscle group, I get a specific gesticulation on that particular face. And in the end, when we capture and process all the data, we come we deliver a human simulator, and this image illustrates that. So imagine having a control, a similar control that our brain has for our body, where we can engage every muscle on a human being. Muscle that moves the hands, but muscle also that opens my jaw, muscle that closes my eyes, and so on. So in the end, MetaHuman is a human simulator each of us can control. We can choose whether we want to control it manually by hand, or we want to capture our performance and then retarget it on the individual, or we want it to act fully autonomously by any AI engine that generates controls directing that virtual human to move. And then if we describe millions of people in this format, or we bring, it's working, okay, cool. So if we can, there's no sound? Okay, without sound. So if we process in that way a bunch of people, we are practically learning a robust statistical model of a human, and we can synthesize new humans that do not exist, but still look plausible because they're constrained by the data set or of human anatomies and of human demography. So in the end, we've delivered a tool that allows everyone to create a digital human. It's called MetaHuman Creator. And by the way, it's free. So showing here a parametric way. I'm not an artist, but in a couple of seconds, I can create a plausible looking and convincing person. The music is really good. It's a pity that we can't play a sound. Anyway, that's actually a funny story because humans are so complex and our team is multidisciplinary. So we're not only engineers, we're not only programmers, we're not only people working in physics, but we also have psychologists on the team. We have artists, a lot of artists within the team. So in order to understand humans, we need to understand from all the perspective, not only engineering, how machines perceive it, but also from the psychology or social sciences perspective, how we as humans perceive humans. Okay, moving forward. Yeah, what in the end we developed, and this is quite unique, we developed a new file format, a new file standard, and it's called .dna file. Forget about all the technical details. One thing you need to remember is there is .dna, like .pdf or .xl, Excel file, whatever, which holds enough information to represent an individual. The funny thing is, although we are kind of building a digital genotype, biological genotype, DNA sequencing kind of operates in a similar way. So if we analyze a biological DNA of an individual, we are actually analyzing DNA sequence, but in the end, we are not storing the whole sequence of that particular individual, but only the difference in DNA sequence when compared to an average. That's practically similar the way how we look at the DNA file of all of us is practically only the difference between an average human across the globe. So where are those metahumans used currently? Obviously entertainment, that's where we operate. So video games and movies. So both linear content which you cannot interact with, or interactive content where you can move around and talk with fictive humans, where we've also digitalized multiple celebrities. Keanu Reeves, Kevin Moss, The Matrix Awakens experience, which was delivered with our team and a bunch of different people across Epic Games. And this is kind of a story that has already been told, and entertainment is where digital humans have been really well established. But crazy thing is that digital humans are going beyond entertainment, beyond gaming. And one of the use cases is celebrities making digital doubles of themselves or multiplying themselves to do things which otherwise they do not have time to do. Luka Doncic, for example, one of the top 5 NBA players, he made a MetaHuman AI-driven replica of himself, so he can play basketball while his fans can interact with him, or while he trains basketball, but he's also recording commercials for brands. So digital doubles of celebrities. But we've also seen a totally fictive celebrities, a meta-human derived, people that are abstract, that are augmented, like Little Michaela, which has huge followers base, mostly 19 years old, and nobody knows whether she is a real person, a robot, or a fictive person. But she's actually a meta-human also. She's recording music videos, like the one on the left. Nice music, again, we cannot hear. And she's also interacting with different brands that want to reach out to that audience. Little Michaela is always 19. That's her story. But even more serious use cases, the shaman over there that is not moving currently, but the thing is you can bring people to life you have never seen. Gesticulator, we never recorded gesticulate. We haven't even recorded their looks. So this is a really nice use case where we've supported a team of anthropologists and archaeologists from Serbia who had only a single data point from an individual that lived roughly 9,000 years BC. They had a skull. And the pipeline is the following. You take a skull from 9,000 years old, so 9,000 before Christ, 11,000 years old person. We engage forensic people who build a muscle structure and epidermis structure on top of that skull. We scan that forensic analysis of a skull. We bring it into the MetaHuman creator, and we bring it to life. It's not a static head anymore, but we know how that person smiles, how that person talks, how it looks, and it's quite magical when you stand in front of an individual who lived 11,000 years ago. There are a few more actual data points that we use, like anthropologists analyze DNA sequence of that individual to estimate the color of the eyes, to estimate that they used also segments of teeth to estimate when the person passed away. So he was around in his 40s. Based on that, we kind of synthesized also the color information or the skin quality and the skin tone. So we can bring shaman in the rendering environment. What's quite cool about that is that this technology is contagious. And we need to play one more video. So as soon as shaman was out, we've seen people across the globe replicating that pipeline. Can we play? Oh no, sorry. Okay, but anyway, a team from Berlin Museum has brought Nefertiti, the Queen of Egypt, who lived around 1,300 years before Christ, to life, and they only had a statue of her face. And with MetaHuman, you can now talk with Nefertiti. So imagine also a quite exciting educational use cases there. So the people you learn throughout the school, you can actually ask questions nowadays. And finally, something that might be relevant for the audience here is research. We are in touch with the team from Trinity College in Dublin, who are using MetaHumans to understand and to experiment what do we perceive as real and what do we perceive as simulation. So they're doing studies to understand when a certain face we as humans feel that it's fictive or non-realistic, and when do we feel it's realistic, actually. Final note, I'm encouraging you guys to find a use case for yourself. Technology is free. There are there's a wide variety of more research streams that you can dig in with it. So please be our guest. Thank you.